startled Bubs with the clap.
Sorry, Bubs. I realized that I probably don't even necessarily need to do the clap.
You don't?
Because Sean was telling me last night there's like some feature in Premiere that just can pick it up and do it automatically.
He showed you how to do it?
It's real simple. You just like select all the clips and you like right click and then find synchronize. It just does it.
Oh, that's nice.
I think I learned that and then forgot. I think I learned the old school way because, you know, you gotta know how to make a fire. If you're a true editor, you gotta know how to sync in the circumstances where. Come on, Bubs. So you seriously trying to sit on our fucking recorder? He's like, I'm the star.
Let's not forget why everyone comes here.
Yeah.
It's just to watch glorious golden Bubs.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, hi guys. Welcome into Jester and Phoebe's Too Much Intimacy. I'm Jester and she's Phoebe. We're still wearing the crown. We're still wearing our sparkles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do feel extra sparkly.
You feel extra sparkly?
Yeah. We had a great day today. We had a great day yesterday.
Yeah, it's been a good weekend.
Yeah, it's been a great weekend. Sunday is like, I feel like Saturdays, historically speaking, are for like
Having a good time.
having fun,
Hanging out.
hanging
Relaxing.
out with
acting
our
all cool and all.
with our buddies,
With our pals.
getting weird maybe.
Doing some illicit substances sometimes.
Talking to the spirits.
Talking to the spirits.
And Sunday is like,
We're going to get the errands done.
we have our chill ritual.
We have our...
Well, maybe it's not chill for you. It feels very like, feels calming to me because it's always the same pretty much.
Yeah, I like that.
So Sunday, usually we have no alarm, so we wake up just whenever we wake up. We go to the farmer's market we have like our vitamin C in the morning. We like figure out what we got to get at the farmer's market. We go to the farmer's market. We see our people. We get our delicious foods. Then we go to brunch. And we have like our snacks that we got at the market. So we get like a little snack when we get home if we need it. And then we just chill. Usually there's a nap on Sunday.
We didn't get a nap. Oh, no, we got a brief nap today.
You took a nap with Bubs.
When?
I watched it.
Oh, on the couch.
Yeah.
You weren't napping?
No, I wasn't napping.
I got a brief nap in. Bubs and I got a brief nap in together. Yeah, Sunday's like the, okay, we're gonna run errands, we're gonna take care of as much as we can, but we're not gonna
We're not gonna stress out.
We're not gonna stress out. When we got home from errands, I smoked. I don't always, usually I'll smoke in the morning, on Sunday morning, and then when we get back, it's like, maybe we'll see how it goes, and I got a little more stoned than I meant to. And then I looked at the list of things to do. It's like, I have to publish my Substack, we have to record the podcast, we have to clean the cat box, we have to do this, which we didn't clean the cat box. And then I got a little stoned and I was like, I have to lay on the floor and not do anything for a little bit. So
Is that what you did?
for like a couple minutes, I was like, oh wow, I really created some spaciousness for myself here. Because we were also supposed to go over to a friend's house and say hi to their baby.
Briefly, to just say hi.
And we thought we were going to try to do it on the way back from the farmer's market, but she hadn't responded. So then I got home and I kind of just was like, all right, we're back home. We're doing the home things now. I can be stoned to do the home things. And then as soon as I lit up, I was like, oh. She texts, she's like, hey, we just woke up it's her and a baby. We just woke up from a nap. Come on over whenever. Next nap time is at 3:40. So
I'm looking at your face. I'm like, we are not going to go and see that baby right now.
I was too twisted to see that baby. So instead I published on my Substack, which somehow, I had already, anyway, go check out my Substack. I don't know.substack.com.
We haven't.
Oh, right. We haven't cross-pollinated those worlds yet.
No.
We're doing some cross-pollinating this weekend, though.
We did. There was a cross-pollination.
There was a cross-pollination.
It sounds very sexual, doesn't it? Cross-pollination?
Yeah, we cross-pollinated audiences.
Our bees, like, touched some stamens.
Yeah.
We moved that flower dust around.
Yeah. We went on the afterglow of the Very Ape podcast hosted by Sean and Cass.
Yeah,
the afterglow
our good
is
friends.
Our good friends. The Podfather and Podmother.
We love you guys.
They told the story of how they seeded this podcast.
Yeah, so we're gonna post that. I don't know. We haven't decided when we're gonna post it, but we will.
We'll post it sometime.
We're gonna post it here, and we'll have a little extras.
A little extras thing.
A little extras to the afterglow.
Yeah.
Our TMI. Our little TMI thoughts.
Our little, the TMI thoughts on the TMI, afterglow TMI. I don't have a thing for it. Sorry, guys.
No.
But, yeah, it was really fun. And I think for me, like, the hangout, like, it's obviously vulnerable anytime you're, like, collaborating with someone or they're inviting you into their project. But I also, like, like, part of the night was, like, I had, like, written this thing that I was going to share with them and, because about this project that we were talking about, and, like, it was really vulnerable, like, to read my writing. And I had also posted my short film on this Discord.
Yeah.
And they watched it and said nice things about it, and I'm not very good at taking compliments, so that was awkward. For those of you who are not watching,
Mr. Bubs.
Bubs just basically sniffed Mom's nose and microphone for that whole time. That was real sweet.
Yeah, I think that's like a really powerful theme from the weekend. I don't know. It feels it feels like a little close to the chest. It feels a little close to home right now. So I feel that, like, hesitancy to, like, talk about it too much, but I think it is, like, a very relatable thing. And I think that, sorry, I have Bob's hair on my face. I think that it's very easy for me to see it happening with you. Mm-hmm. This, like, you're receiving the validation that you asked for.
Yeah.
However long ago you asked for it.
Yeah.
From, like, yourself, from the universe,
right.
God, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw it come your way, not through me, who's, like, a bias-filled person, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw you just gloss, like, become like a glossy surface, like, it just, the positive feedback came to you and it just, like, dripped off of you.
I really knocked it down. I really had, like,
you were very resistant.
I was very resistant. I was really knocking away I was really coming up with reasons why. It was not my finest moment, I think. I was really, I wish that I had the skill to, like, take a compliment with grace, but I had watched my short film and not really been happy with it, because I was looking back on it with a lens of judgment and, like, oh, this could have been better, that could have been better, like, holding it up to some professional standards. And I made this 8 years ago. And, when our friends were saying nice things about it, I was just like, I could still only see I, like, didn't want to let people think that that's the best I could do.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely know that feeling.
Yeah.
As someone who's in a creative field, like, who is also definitely a perfectionist and, like, always striving to do better and always, like, wanting to learn more and, like, make things, learn how to express my values in a better way, in, like, the purest, most beautiful, truest way.
Yeah.
And I think you have that also.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that something that the universe is showing us is that, like, to get to that level, it's not just like a one note thing of like, okay, I've hit the perfect chord in my creative life, and now I'm like, oh, I'm enlightened, my artwork is perfect. It's like not, you know, of course it's not that.
Yeah.
You know, like nature is not like that. Nature is not like, is one like disconnected thing that's just like floating, not connected to all the other things.
Yeah.
It's like it's all connected, and I think like your relationship with your inner artist and what your inner artist has expressed in the past and will express in the future and is expressing now, like I think that the love that you are able to give to that, you as an artist in all timelines.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the true key to, I don't know, unlocking the like deep,
Whatever is the next level of enlightenment.
the like, I don't know, the like epic orgasm, the mother load blowing of being a creative.
Yeah.
You know, we're all trying to get that huge load out. Sorry, that was really loud.
Huge load. We're all trying to get the creative mother load blown
All those,
right on our
all the
tits.
creatives out there, they're just trying to blow their fucking perfect load.
We're just trying to shoot the perfect shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like,
But that's not really how it works. Like, that's not how creativity works. There is no perfection in creativity. You kind of just, no matter what the project is, you have to decide, okay, this is the draft that's going out. This is the one, this is where we stop, doing, edits and cuts and rewrites. Eventually you just have to like put it out, and that's a vulnerable thing to do.
yeah,
And,
well, yeah.
it's like, yeah, I forget. I was gonna go back into like making excuses as to why I don't think my 8-minute short from 8 years ago is good enough.
I think I might, like, I keep thinking about, when we went on that vacation with your family, and your aunt pulled you and your sister aside and said, I think you have to become the benevolent dictators of this vacation. Because it was just like,
Yeah.
a lot of people who are like, go with the flow, not planning, like trying to go through a vacation where you're all staying in a house and trying to do activities with like 10 people. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
I feel like I might need to become the benevolent dictator right now of like our life as like real. This is going to sound so cheesy and I hate to say it, but like I have been seeing it as like we're really like artists, and like we're just like we're those we're just like trying to make it. And when I say make it, I don't mean like with creative success.
We're just trying to like make.
We're trying to make our life our life is our life's work.
Yeah.
And like there's all the creative projects that come from that, which is like so fun and beautiful and like keeps us going. But I think really our truest work is our lives and how we choose to live it moment to moment. And I think that this weekend I had just this experience where I was like, oh, but it's just a switch. It's like if you look at your brain as like a computer, it's just a switch that you can flip the other way. You can choose to have the switch in the mode of like seeking like what's wrong with this so I can make it better.
Yeah.
And then you can you can switch it the other way and be like, what are all the things that are awesome about this,
that you love about it, that you can be gracious for, that you can be, that you can. It's true. It's like it's like a different angle at the glass is half full thing, because I do consider myself an optimist. Like I look at everything and I'm like, oh yeah, World War III might be right around the corner, but humanity will survive, and we'll, all that. Like I'm a perpetual optimist, except for when it comes to my own stuff.
Right.
I look at it and I can only see what is not good enough. But I think I'm getting a little bit better at that. It's just because now that we're consistently putting out a podcast just about once a week, and I'm consistently putting stuff on my Substack about once a week.
Knock on wood.
Knock on wood. I'm not like, I'm not being quite as precious, because I'm like, I know that if I went through these stories, like I'm giving myself like 3 drafts. It's like I'll write something in my notebook, and if it's good, and if it like catches me, then I'll transcribe it, and then I'll do one more pass, and then I'll post it.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that sounds great in my mind, of like 3 draft process, you know? Because I've written things where I don't even know how many drafts it was just like turned into like I'm in it. I don't know where I'm going. Yeah. But I'm trying to find the negative stuff and like find my way out of it. And it's like, I think you can still like get like the meaning out of it that way, but I don't know. I just feel really proud of the work that you're putting out right now, and I think that's a beautiful thing to have, like purity also in the process of making it. I think that's like the next level of creating real, like true art. It's not just about the product, it's about the process also. This is something that I've been like trying to get to in my own professional work, is like, when I was first starting out, I was like, okay, I'm figuring this out. This is like, I have great opportunities. I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm going to work late. I'm going to get scrappy. I'm going to get furniture on Craigslist and reupholster it if I have to, you know, like whatever is going to make it like gorgeous within the budget. And like, now I'm like, okay, I've figured out how to do the things within like very difficult circumstances. And now it's like, okay, I kind of know how to do this enough that like there's this like part of the process that just like I need to have peace. I need to have a level of peace and respect for myself and my energy
that's true.
During the process. And I think that's also with your internal dialogue with yourself. You know, before and after.
It's true. And I recognize that there's like part of that process, at least for me right now, there is a little bit of turbulence. There is a little bit of like, and that's kind of how it goes with any process, is like you fall in love with a thing and then you like fall out, like, you know, it's like, this is terrible, and like you work through it. And right now kind of what I'm trying to do is like just kind of like skip through the like sitting around with it too long, so that I don't even get a chance to get into the like, oh, this is terrible part. So right now I'm basically just publishing things that I can write in one sitting. Because I think when you have to like, when you have to go back and like rewrite it and whatnot, like when I do get around to writing something longer, that'll be a whole different challenge, because like right now I'm not like writing outlines and this and that. Right now I'm kind of just sitting around and scribbling on my thing, and like it's kind of basically stream of consciousness, but I vaguely know where the story is going to go. Actually, the last couple I haven't really known at all, and that's really fun. But I don't know, I guess I'm kind of rediscovering myself as a writer and an artist. It's really exciting to feel like an artist again, because I have not really for the last couple of years. I
don't know if I did really my entire life until like literally like 2 months ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah, I guess that
isn't that funny?
That is very funny, because I've always considered you an artist because your work is your art. You live like an artist, but you've never...
I mean, there's something that's also like a little bit confusing about that word, right? Like, there's the part of my brain as we're talking about this where I'm like, oh my God, it's so cringy. Like, real artists don't call themselves artists. Like, they just are, you know?
Yeah, they do. Fuck off. Of course they do.
I don't know. Yeah, probably. I mean, if it just... I think it's different for everyone, and like if you do the thing professionally, like okay, if you're like a professional painter, like obviously you call yourself an artist, but like, you know,
like different artists don't have claim to that word.
I think that different creatives, I think that, well, I just want to say that I think that everyone has like an artist in them, right? I think that
Mm-hmm.
humans are creators.
Mm-hmm.
So we all have that in us, but some of us like are just more inclined to be more like mathematical, more like
Right.
scientific. Not that there isn't art in there, because I think there is,
Yeah.
but I think what I'm talking about as an artist is like a person who feels so deeply about the like symphony of how things fit together in life and expressing them from your perspective, if that makes sense. Whether
Mm.
it's like visually, like with, visual art, or music, or design, or writing. It's like all different ways of doing the same thing, of like,
It's communication. It's passing on. It's trying to communicate
yeah.
stories or feelings or how you want to affect. It's being intentional about the experience you're trying to
Yeah, it's like
have,
I
or
think it's like communication of an experience that's like finds itself in the expression of what it is. Like it's
mm,
not through the communication that we learn when we're born of like language.
right.
I mean, yes,
Well,
writers
it's
use
use
language.
language, but it's not the intellectual. It's the communicate, to me at least. It's like the communication of how do you translate a feeling through, like, how do you translate a feeling that you feel inside, maybe connected to your 5, 6, however many senses we're supposed to have? How do you transmit that accurately to someone else or a group of other people?
Yes.
And that is a pure, like, that is a purely impossible thing to do. But the
But there's so
um,
much,
but
yeah.
there's so many, like, it's so interesting and so fun. Like, we have so many fun tools. We have our bodies are tools, our minds are tools, our microphones are tools. Like, we just, like, the beautiful thing about being an artist is that you just really get to figure out, come on, dude. You just really get to figure out, um, you get to figure out, like, what your toolbox, like, which are the best tools in your toolbox. Like, how can you attune yourself to communicate most effectively what happens inside you to the outside world? Because that's kind of
Yeah.
like a large part of what we're all doing here, is like just
Yeah.
trying to make contact,
Yes,
you
exactly.
know?
It's about connection, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And feeling and seeing each other, what's on the inside of yeah, what's going on in there,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah. Just getting right in there.
Well, and I think, can I just tell the story about the whole like artist thing?
Uh, I don't know what you mean, but yes.
Okay, we touched on it a tiny bit before. So I realized, so like I did my undergrad. Um, I studied studio art. That was my major.
Mm-hmm.
And I did like installation art, and like I really learned, like I had a really good time like making stuff and learning how to like create, and like figuring out like a process of mine of like putting my stories into like physical things, and like creating like a physical installation out of them,
Mm-hmm.
something that you can like walk through and like experience. And during school, we did like gallery management and learned about like about the art world, and I was like, oh fuck, I don't think that like I have it in me.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, okay, so you have your art, and then you have to like have a side job. You have to have this like side job so you can make money to fund your art, so you can make your art. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, and they're like, you also need to like be your own advocate for your art, because like nobody else is going to be your advocate, because like no one's going to know who you are.
Right.
This is coming out sounding extremely
No, it's
negative.
very difficult. Well, I think what you're kind of getting to is, like, you were taught that how to be an artist in the way that your, university professors were telling you was
Right.
not going to be, wasn't really going to fit in with the financial, incentive systems. Like, it's, let's just be frank. To try to pursue a career in art is not a financially intelligent move. You know, you have to have a, if finances are at the top of your priority list, probably being an artist is not necessarily, at the top. Like, you're kind of gonna have to decide, because it's difficult. You go try to be an actor in New York City, you're gonna be broke for a while. Unless you just like come from money, you are going
If you
to.
come from money, then
If you come
you
from money, do
fucking
whatever the
live
fuck you
it
want,
up.
dude.
Live it up, man.
Do whatever you want.
Get your apartment paid for.
If you have been blessed with generational funds, congratulations. But seriously, just don't use it for evil. All right. Don't make us label you a billionaire. We'll come the fuck after you.
Use it for good.
Use it for fucking good. Use it for fucking good. I like the bits where we talk into the camera. Okay. Anyway, yeah, being an artist it doesn't necessarily fit in with the like kind of financial incentive systems that we currently live in. So they were telling you like, hey, you're going to have a side job and this and that. And so you kind of felt like
I just
you didn't have it in you?
I just didn't see myself as like, I was doing like installation, like mixed media art,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't feel so strongly about the work that I was making there, where I was like, oh yeah, like this is it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be like, I also, when I saw other like art, quote unquote, like artists, not to say that they're not artists, but like I had a narrow view of what an artist was.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I don't know if that's me. I didn't feel like, oh, that's my calling.
Yeah.
So I was always very interested in interior design.
Mm-hmm.
My mom watched a lot of HGTV and did a lot of furniture rearranging and wall painting and wallpapering, and I played a lot of The Sims, and I was like, this is like the only thing that sounds fun and like kind of practical to do, because I didn't grow up thinking like, oh my God, I can do whatever I want. I'm going to be so successful because I'm so good at school. I was like, I'm bad at school. I should probably try to like just learn something that I'm pretty good at, that I can have fun doing, and that like I'll probably be able to get a job working for a company where like they can make my life like financially stable for me. So yeah, so I moved to New York, got into design school, got an internship, got a job, and just like became an interior designer.
You did,
like working for a company. So
I like that there was a element of practicality to it.
Always. I mean, I think it's from like how I was raised.
Yeah.
Like, I think my parents' values that they instilled in us were like, we want you to be happy, but like, yes, like be happy and be financially independent.
Mm-hmm.
They like really wanted that for us.
Yeah.
So I felt like a little bit like the one who did bad in school, the black sheep of the family. I was like, all right, so I'm going to do something creative, but like, I want to try to make it practical, because how else then will I exist?
How do I justify my
How
existence?
else will I exist in the world?
Yeah.
Like, something that seemed like I could make it as an adult, maybe? Like, that seems so scary when you're like in college.
Yeah, it is.
To me, it did.
It's true. I was like very much like I felt called to be an artist from a young age. I was like a writer or actor or whatever. I kind of always knew. And I futzed around with like, oh, maybe instead I'll use my talents for Jesus and like be a pastor or something. But like when it started, when it like came down to it, I was like, oh, well, I guess I just kind of have to do this, be an actor thing. And I moved to New York, and I did have the thing that's different between yours and mine, even though I like also grew up with an air of practicality about it. Like, I just genuinely believed that I was talented enough that I would come to New York and I would grind it out.
That's because you grew up the straight A student, babe.
I grew up the straight A student. I grew up a big fish in a small school. My high school graduating class had 25 people in it. I wasn't the only person with any ambition, but like, nobody else was thinking about like going to fucking Hollywood or anything like that,
right. Yeah.
So it was, and I just, I don't know. I just thought that I just was convinced that I would go and it would all work itself out. And guess what? It has. Not how I expected.
Naivete is a really
naivete is a
beautiful
beautiful
gift.
thing.
It's a beautiful gift.
It is a beautiful gift. If you feel like you are about to make a big decision and you're like, oh, you're being so naive, listen, just do it. Just do it, because like whatever adventure you're going to find on the way is like, even if it's just like, oh, like this kid that works for me, he just lost the crown.
I'll get it back.
He just like he was in New York trying to, like, he wants to be a playwright, and then he had to go back to Texas, and he's like, I need to get a degree. It's cheaper in Texas. I'll do it there. And he went to Texas, and he was like, this is not where I'm supposed to be. And so he just immediately moved back to New York, and he's like, I'm not going to school. I'm just going to try to make it. Can I work for you guys as much as possible?
That's
And
so
we're like,
cool.
hell yeah, man.
That's so cool.
It is very cool. So yeah, that's,
It's so nice to hear people's stories about finding themselves.
yeah.
And like, I know that when they're filled with unexpected pit stops, like, oh, I'm gonna just move here, and then you're like, oh my god, that was a bad choice. And you're like, I'm gonna move back, and you're like, this seems like I don't know what I'm doing.
Bad choices, like, there are no bad choices. There's just choices, and then like regret is a choice. You know, it's just like, oh, if you want to go regret, that was like 3 months you spent, not wherever, like, yeah, sure, I tried to move to wherever and didn't end up sticking it out there. Nothing wrong with that. I don't regret. Like, I moved to New York specifically to be an actor, and I wore the actor mantle until like very recently. And I moved to New York in 2011, so like 14 years ago. I'm not a successful actor. And I also kind of am not even really calling myself an actor right now, but I don't regret those 14 years. I don't regret anything about it.
Well, like, I have to ask the question of like, what do you mean when you say you're not a successful actor?
I didn't make a career out of it.
Okay. Yeah, but like, I don't know, from my perfectionist view of like doing the truest, most beautiful expression of you, I think that you did. Because you joined like a really incredible acting community.
Yeah, it's true.
You made so many incredible connections. You were in so many cool, weird, strange and terrible plays, and
also some really good ones.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, it's beautiful. I think it's incredible, like the spectrum and the amount of talented people that you connected with, and the amount of talented people that really looked up to you and that you inspired,
Yeah.
and that like really respect you as an actor. And I just have to say, like, when we started dating, you were in a couple of plays, and I think one of them, it had like 5 shows, and I saw every one of them. I had to help during some of them, but I was like half cast. But no, but like, I stand behind that. Like, you are an incredible actor, and that's like being in touch with like the deepest parts of yourself and being able to like alchemize them and like bring them out externally and express them in a way that other people can feel them.
Yeah.
That I think that you are. So I'm gonna take that fucking thing you said and I'm gonna slap it out of your hand.
All right. Thank you. I accept it. I accept this compliment gracefully. And now what do? What am I supposed to do with my hands at this point? When you get a compliment and you say thank you, then what? This is the real challenge for me.
You mean
because
like,
I'm just like, okay, thank you. And like, I know, like, I can just be like, oh, but you're such an amazing artist too. But then that's like the obvious like bullshit thing.
No, you can't do that.
So we just sit in silence and like bask in the compliment.
Well, I think it depends on the environment that you're in. If you're in like a woo-woo environment, or you're like a, like a touchy,
give it up to the angels.
like a touchy-feely group. I'm thinking about like probably like group therapy.
Mm-hmm.
They encourage you to like take a moment and like feel the compliment, like let it touch your body, like let your insides feel it.
You gotta let it in.
You gotta let it in.
That's true. I don't always do that very well.
It's okay.
No.
It's a process.
You guys are watching me fucking evolve right
I'm
here on
sorry.
camera.
Turned it into slang
Turn it
artist
into
therapy.
artist therapy. Welcome into artist therapy. No, it's good. It's retraining the voice to tell myself like this is good. It's a process that I've been in, like, I've been like actually publishing on the Substack, and like, all right, so I've got Far World, and like it's this thing that I have written, and I have it as a backup when I don't have fresh content. And I'm not in the mood to write Far World right now, and I'm not in the mood really to consume it. The voice is not in my head, because I think it's in me a little bit more when I'm listening to more history podcasts, and for some reason I
Right.
haven't been doing that as much. So even when I go back to read it because I'm about to post it, I'm like, oh, this is just not the mood I'm in, and I don't think anybody's going to be in this mood to read it because it's really dense, dorky sci-fi fantasy stuff. Um, but then I'm like, but when I wasn't, like, this is awesome. Like, just because right now I'm not feeling it, I know that like when I am in that, like, really I want to sink my teeth into a world, like I'm like, this is a really cool thing that I'm doing, and I've got a voice to it, I've got the language, and I don't have it, it's not flowing out of me right now, but it's there. So I'll say I'm a good writer. I'm a good fucking writer.
Do you want to talk about what Far World is? Because I don't think we've said anything about it.
I thought we mentioned Far World.
Uh-uh.
Okay, so Far World is a world in which I'm so bad at this.
Michael really is interested in what they call world building
Uh-huh.
in writing.
Right. So like, like George R. R. Martin created Westeros and Essos and like the land, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what it's called, if that, but like Middle Earth. Tolkien created Middle Earth. Um and I've always been interested in, obviously, the stories that happen there, the narratives that happen there, but I'm really curious about the worlds and how you build a fully three-dimensional world with, like, given what are you trying to say with the world? What are the details? Like, how do you connect with the world and all the details? And I'm fascinated by history. I've always been interested in fantasy. I've always been interested in science fiction, and those two like things are like always crunched together in the same section of the book, store of the book, even though fantasy and science fiction are very different. So
You just said store of the book.
store of the book.
So in bookstores, they're in the same area?
Yes, it's sci-fi and fantasy. They're just like next to each other. Um, even though they're just like
Oh.
totally different
Oh,
genres,
interesting. I never
but
thought
they've
about
always been
that.
kind of clumped together.
Okay.
And then there's like speculative fiction and like, you don't exact historical fiction, and like, it's this whole little area of the bookstore um, that I like to play around in. And alternate history, blah blah blah. So I guess I kind of asked myself at one point. I was like, well, what would Westeros, what would Middle Earth look like if it had Star Wars technology? You know,
And when you can you say what people, if they don't know what Middle Earth is?
Middle Earth is the Lord of the Rings. So like, what would the Lord of the Rings world with elves and orcs and dwarves and humans look like if you advanced it a couple thousand years on the timeline? And now you're taking place like basically in our technology now, where it's like we're looking to the stars and we're like, when will we begin to like go out and get off this planet, expand our species? But like the thing that's different about Far World, but it's also the same, is we have these four distinct races, orcs, elves, dwarves, and men. And so I'm kind of exploring I guess I'm kind of like exploring ethnicity and race in humanity,
Mm-hmm.
but by breaking it out into, these fantasy creatures.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that was a good explanation. I don't know if that was a good pitch. But you can say
I
nice
wasn't
things.
asking. Yeah, no. I don't think that you need to know how to pitch it right now.
Mhm.
I think that just the world building itself is such a like crazy and awesome thing that you do.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know, it's a very contemplative thing. And as someone who has never really identified as someone who, or like someone who like has been like, oh, I don't want to be that person in the bookstore, you know? When Harry Potter was cool, I was like I'm not into Harry Potter. I was like that person, even though now I'm like, oh, Harry Potter's awesome. I love the movies. I never read the books.
Yeah.
But I think for me, it's just a way for people to really like connect with these other characters and empathize with them in a way that sometimes you can't empathize with just like seeing a regular current day human experience, because it takes you out of that completely.
Yeah. It's true.
It's like just a more,
you need a veil to be slipped over your eyes to like teach you things that are right in front of your face.
Yeah, sometimes people want to be titillated on an immersive as fuck,
sometimes
weird ass dreamy journey.
Sometimes you just need a sexy elf lady to like tell you that you're doing great, and sometimes you just have to write her down in the fictional world. You create so on my Substack I create these ChatGPT generated images for like the visual part, because I don't have any visual skill, but you kind of took over today and you created me a real hot lead character.
I did. Not for Far World, for another story that you're also writing.
Another world I'm writing.
Another world, yeah. But
what was that like, doing the we haven't really talked about your process of like creating the image.
It's not, I don't think the process is that interesting, but I can tell you about it. Maybe people would like to know who have never tried using ChatGPT for creating images.
I'm seriously, I was very intimidated by it. And so like basically what I did was I kind of tried to like write a 2-sentence kind of sort of pitch of what the thing is. And then
they all start with create a
film noir is the kind of the
movie poster
with featuring these two characters and this place, right? And
you briefly describe the characters.
The characters and like kind of what I want it to look and feel like. And on the free ChatGPT version, you get 3 drafts. So I really like it. It kind of goes along with my writing draft. I get the first one, I refine it again, and then I pick which of the 3 that I liked. So I did that. I had my process. I published the thing. She is the first to read it, of course, because she's a good kitten. And what was your first response?
When I read it?
Well, what was the first thing you said to me?
I said, I'm reading it again right now, so I can understand it better.
Okay, after you read it twice.
I said that the first time I read it, I was a little bit thrown off because of the artwork.
Yeah.
Because with the previous story that you posted from this world, the artwork was very clear of like who the main character is. There's like a male who's dressed in a certain way. There's like a secondary female who's like also like specifically dressed, and they're in this setting. And so you see the image and you start reading it and you're immediately like, okay, the voice, because the way that you write, you go like right into it. You start just like talking from the main character's perspective. So the images for me are great because the voice starts going and I'm like, oh, I know who this is talking because I just saw them. So with this one, the art, it didn't do the same thing as there was another like male main character it's talking from their perspective, but I only saw like females in the image.
Well, one of the characters was like kind of gender non-binary, like, you know.
Yeah,
queer,
but like it didn't, to me, how I read, once I figured out like who was the narrator, I was like, these don't look like the people that you're talking about.
Yeah.
So I
So what did you do? You took You took my
So
descriptions.
I was like, hey, can I change this image?
Yeah.
Can we do a
She's
new?
like, your story's great, babe, but I need to change your image immediately.
Well, and I have ChatGPT, so I was like, I have 3 more chances on my free version.
Right.
Let's show me what you used, and I'll tweak the prompt and try to get.
This is the first time, by the way, I've done this like 5 times and like had a pretty good image each time, and this is the first time you felt the need to intervene. But usually I'll run the image by you.
The other
This time I
times
didn't.
you did run the, you were like, here's the options I got, and I'll be like, okay, yeah, this is the good one.
Yeah, I didn't do that because I was just trying to get it out.
Yeah, but so what I did, so you showed me the prompts that you gave, which was pretty like straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
Was like it was like Queen of Diamonds is the character. There's like a sexy male bartender, film
Mm-hmm.
noir. They're in a like punk club, like bathroom, like a dive bar bathroom, and there's like other people. There's like a few girls like taking selfies in the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing that I wanted to change was I wanted to make sure, because you describe in the story that the female has like strawberry blonde hair. She has like a necklace on, which is like a little, I don't know what you call that. It's like a, like, because the story doesn't say that she's the Queen of Diamonds, but there's like a little descriptor of the necklace that she's wearing
And
that
it's a
gives you like a
diamond, yeah.
clue that that's who she is.
Yeah.
So I wanted to have the image just like make it clear that like, oh, these people you're describing, oh, it's obviously them. So
she's real hot too. She created the hottest girl. She's right out of my fantasies. Mm-hmm. And I think you did it kind of like just by really honing in on the details. Is what you added. You basically took mine and you added a bunch of details to it. Details that were in the story.
And I asked you a little bit of background information about like what age do you imagine these characters, so like that you're really crafting it towards your vision for like future stories too, so it's like consistent.
Yeah, it was good. It was really good. It was good to watch you work.
I don't really know what I'm doing with this ChatGPT image thing.
I think you're doing fucking great.
The thing that I think will be a little bit of a struggle though is like with the prompts, it seems like it generates a completely new image each time, and
this is the thing that bums me out a lot.
You can't just tell it like use this,
stay in this world.
Well, maybe we can figure that out.
I wonder if you can borrow a character. You're like, okay, this guy, I want him to this exact guy, I want him to show up in another thing.
I don't know. We'll figure it out. Off the pod.
I think it's, let's see. It's about time. You want to get all a little too intimate with him?
Get all up in the
camera lens?
The viewer's business?
Yeah.
I do, but I think first I want to just, I don't know.
You want to compliment me some more?
Did I do a lot of complimenting you in this episode?
Well, I'm just trying to get a few more. It feels like the theme of this episode is say nice things about Jester and see if he can handle it. So keep it coming, baby.
Keep it coming. Yeah, I think I just want to say that I'm really grateful for this life that we have been building together. It's definitely not easy.
Oh, yeah, but it's a good one.
We were in couples therapy at 9 a.m. this morning. We actually did have to set an alarm this Sunday.
Yeah.
Usually we don't. And I think that all these things, all these like deep feelings that we have that sometimes make it really hard for us to like feel satisfaction or move forward in our lives. Like, I think that roller coaster that makes our life feel a little tumultuous sometimes also like really keeps us honest. And I think
Sorry, I thought you wouldn't notice.
For a second, I thought you were like getting emotional because I was like being so touching, and then I saw you were stifling a yawn. It's all good.
Sorry. I'm sorry, kids.
It's all right. I just feel really grateful for this push-pull that we have, because I feel like we've drawn in amazing people in our life when we moved up here, and like we've made amazing friends.
We have such a cool crew of people.
We have like a lot of love in our life, and I feel super grateful, and I feel very I just wanted to wallow in the gratitude, I think, of this moment, because sometimes it feels like a slog,
Yeah,
of
it
like,
does.
what the hell am I doing? You know?
Yeah.
Why did I think I could do this? You
What?
know,
Yeah, exactly.
we
Why are we?
sometimes the depths of winter are just like
It's
slapping.
tough out
They're
there.
slapping you down, and so I want to just say
It's tough out there in the cold.
thank you.
Thank you for
Thank you.
being part of. Thank you.
Thank you to the gods.
Thank you to the gods. Thanks to Bubs. Just gratitude in general. If you can start hacking your life with anything, it's gratitude.
Everyone knows that.
Well, now they do because I said it. You heard it first.
You did not. You heard it here for the millionth time.
Yes. Okay. Hey guys.
Lamb chop's coming up.
Lamb chop's coming into this one.
Okay, let's try to get our faces in the frame. One day.
Hey. How's it going?
Hey.
I'm Chester, she's Phoebe. And we just want to tell you how grateful we are for you guys tuning in. Stop whacking my microphone with yours.
I'm so sorry.
I was like doing a thing.
I'll stop turning to look at you.
We're so grateful for you.
Are you looking at me to tell me to start talking?
Yeah, you start talking now.
All right. The sign off for the night is cuddle your stuffies.
Cuddle your stuffy.
Or just cuddle yourself if you don't have any stuffies.
You can
Because you
also
might
cuddle.
need
Self-cuddling is acceptable.
Cuddle your stuffies. Take some good deep breaths. And dream all of your most beautiful dreams.
That's right. You heard it first. Cuddle your stuffies or yourselves. Take some good deep breaths and dream all your best dreams. Thanks for hanging out with us. It's Chester and Phoebe's Too Much Intimacy. See you next time.
Night night.